Hi everyone, how's it going? Forgive me, I don't look my best. I haven't been sleeping very well. I mean, the gang stalking doesn't help, but something tells me it's not entirely to do with that. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. So, got everything cleared up with my landlords. They have indeed applied, from the looks of things, they have indeed applied for a accelerated um possession order, which means that at the latest, I should be getting a letter around April, like at the very latest, right? I should be getting a letter at around April with a case number on it. Um, and even then, I don't necessarily know if just because the repossession order has been applied for, I don't think it automatically means it's been accepted. There's going to be a chance given for me to dispute it, but again, disputing it was never the point. The point was always to get me the fuck up out of here and get me somewhere else. That was always the plan. And even though I know as a targeted individual that gang stalking is everywhere and that gang stalking is like, it's wherever you go. Like I said before, I have boundaries and I'm going to maintain those boundaries. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if there's gang stalking going on or not. If there's boundaries, I'm going to maintain them. And it's really as simple as that. Why would I stay in the same place that had like some dickheads like calling me racial slurs for 4 years and doing all kinds of fuck shit to fucking unsettle my nerves to get attention? Why would I stay in the same situation where landlords not even allowed that to happen for 4 years, but actively encouraged that for 4 years? And then on top of that, slandered me, not only to, the neighbors, but also to handymen coming in and out of here. Why would I want to stay in a situation where the handyman who comes to fix my shit has been going around trying to make me look as bad as possible without giving full context as to why I was behaving the way I was behaving? Why would I want to stay in that situation? Again, gang stalking or not, why would I want to stay in that situation? If they want me out, they can have me out. Do you understand what I mean? But they don't get both. They don't get to terrorize me and have everything their own way. They don't get to do that. So it's as simple as that. Also, I suspect that there might be a hit on me in particular. And the reason why I say this is because this is very, very flimsy. So I'm not about to turn around and say that this is concrete evidence of what I'm saying. But there is a targeted individual called Diaz Rose, right? And she put together that any name that comes up on Google Trends more than 200 times or more, they are likely going to be, there's likely a hit that's been ordered on them by Mossad, by the Israeli government, right? So Renee Good, her name came up 200 times before she was killed. Alex Pretty's name apparently came up 200 times before he was killed. And Diaz Rose, you can look her up on Instagram, Diaz Rose, not Rose Diaz, Diaz Rose. Okay. Her name came up 200 times as well, and she's already a targeted individual. There was already a hit on her once, so there might be another one on her again. Now, I've looked up with regards to my name coming up in trends. I investigated it and I looked it up, and my name comes up about like 100 times in a day. I think it's like 100 times on February the 14th or something like that. When I get all the images together, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, there might be a hit on me. I'm not sure though. And the reason why I'm not really worried about it is because nobody's invincible. We all have to pass some time. But the reason why I'm not scared, it's not because of the possibility that I might not die, because everybody has to die at some point. I may die, I may not die if somebody orders hit on me, right? But the reason I'm not scared is because there's been attempts before, right? And it's not so much that I lived to see it. It's that when you're in this program, people being suicided and murdered and trafficked, like all the horrible things that you can think of is pretty much a given when you're a targeted individual. I just have to make sure that when they do these horrible things, which I can't stop them from doing, that the price they pay is worth more than the enjoyment. That's how the fuck you get them. I don't care who you are as a targeted individual. You have to make sure that the pain that they go through, from the cruelty that they inflict on, the pain that they go through, from the cruelty that they inflict on you, it has to be worth more than the satisfaction that they get out of it. It has to be worth more. And that's the way that I play it. There's only so much I can do. I'm not invincible. I'm only one woman. I'm completely on my own. My family betrayed me. My friends betrayed me. This community, every community that I'm in, they are not on my side. I'm completely on my own. These are the cards that I have to work with. Whenever they want to cause me pain, and they are going to at every opportunity, I have to make sure that when they do, and when they get their little jollies out of it, that those jollies cost them. As a targeted individual, you have to find ways to make their pleasure their worst nightmare. Why? Because that is exactly what they do to you. Every single thing about your life, they turn into something that can be weaponized against you. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It doesn't matter if it makes you feel happy or upset. Every single thing about your life is used as a weapon against you. That's how you have to handle the gang stalkers. That's exactly how you got to handle them. That's how I handle them. That's why, like, instead of just being like, oh, they're ordering hit on me and like shaking in my boots because I might get killed, instead of doing that shit, I make sure that I put stuff in place to make sure that the enjoyment and the relief that they get from killing me is not going to be worth it in the end. I make sure. Just like I make sure that all the enjoyment that they get out of hurting me and watching me suffer, watching me cry, they'll never be able to wank straight again. I make sure of it. Can't touch themselves at all, can't enjoy none of my pain without being traumatized by it. I make sure. Speaking of which, we've got to get into these Epstein files. Okay, now, this file that I'm about to read, okay, I'm going to let you know the number of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link on YouTube and here so that you can catch the number, right? So the number of this particular file is EFTA 002622811. Okay, so that's EFTA double O, not 00, the letters O, 002622811. Okay, that's the file. I'm going to leave it in the description so that at your leisure, you can read through those files. But this is a file that is 238 pages long and it is packed with a lot of information. You will see when I read these files, right? You will see exactly what I'm talking about when I read these files. Okay? So, I've already got two names that might be significant when it comes to the reading of these files. The first name is Jacqueline Pearce. The second name is Deutsche Bank. Bank of Germany, right? So those are the two names that I've already got in my mind. And I feel like they're somewhere in this file right here. Because I've skimmed through it and I feel like the name might be here. I don't know for sure though. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it. And then when I feel like I need a break from it, I'm going to stop, but I'm going to give you the link so you can look at the rest of it. I might read it in parts, I might not. It depends on what happens today. Starting with page 1. So this looks like it's a report, right? A report made by either a targeted individual or a targeted individual group. It says here, I'm going to need to get this on deck because we're in for a long night. So we've got the specific targeting of an individual, 27 years, 1993 to 2021, organized targeted crime, government and police. This is in Australia. So we've got a file of a targeted individual in Australia that either Jeffrey Epstein or somebody connected to Epstein has his hands on. Already a red flag, all right? Government department. Center link connected to illegal activity of identity theft, money laundering, drug trafficking, misuse of tax file numbers, illegally created bank accounts, illegal transfer of funds, telco, telecommunications. Government department, Centrelink, telco, connected to robo-debts resulting in suicide of targeted victims of the illegally created debts, fraudulent debts, organized targeted crime. So what I'm looking at here is like a sort of, I don't know if I could call it a diagram, but it's like, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you. All right. I'm just going to show you here. So, let me see. Let me show you. So this is what I'm looking at. So we've got money laundering through government departments. Sorry, there's a hair on the screen. I've got to get rid of it. Money laundering through government departments. We've got the Australian Credit Union, the Commonwealth Bank, Home Start Finance, Australia and New Zealand, and I can't remember what NAB is. I'm going to have to look that up. Centrelink Government Department, telecommunications, illegal activity, money laundering. Let's go downwards. Hold on. Sorry. Right. Okay. So we've got AGL, housing. I think it's Southern Australia housing, child support, Telstra, the Australian Tax Office, Centrelink, South Australian Water, Wesley United Care, real estate, legal systems and lawyers, debt collection services is connected to child support. That's quite important. So we've got South Australia police services, connected to the tax office. And then we've got the court systems and South Australia councils connected to Centrelink. So there are 3 things that we want to look up here. We want to look up Centrelink, AGL, and NAB. So let's have a look at that now. Let me have a look at that now. Okay, so first of all is NAB. That's what I want to have a look at. Sorry, first of all is NAB. That's what I want to have a look at. Let's see, NAB. NAB Australia is, hold up. Got to fix a few things first. NAB Australia, let's have a look-see. NAB Personal Banking. Why is it called NAB? National Australian Bank, is it called? Or maybe the National Bank of Australia, I don't know. But let me see what it actually means. NAB. NAB. National Australia Bank. So I was close. So NAB is National Australia Bank. So the National Australia Bank has been named as partially complicit in the gang stalking that is being described here. Okay, National Australia Bank. AGL is what we want to look up next. AGL Australia. Okay, so this is an electric and gas company in Australia. I'm guessing Australia gas. Not sure what the L is. AGL. Let's see what that name means. Name. Full name. AGL Energy Limited. So it's Australian Gaslight Company. Apt name. So Australia Gaslight Company, which is an energy company in Australia, is also named as being complicit in the crimes of gang stalking. I find it interesting that the US government allowed these names to come out. I find it very interesting. So what else did I want to look up? So that's NAB done. That's AGL done. And what else did I want to look at? Centrelink. Wesley United Care sounds like insurance. Let's see what that's about. That sounds like insurance. I could be wrong though. Oh, Wesley United Care. Okay. Okay, I was wrong. It seems like it's a... Hold on. Wesley Hospital. So it's a hospital in Brisbane. Okay, let's see. Wesley United Care is a hospital, and then we've got Centrelink, because Centrelink comes up quite a bit here. I'm only on the first page, mind you. Let's look up Centrelink, because that seems to be the biggest one here. That seems to be the biggest name that's important here. Let's look up Centrelink. Centrelink Master Program, or more commonly known as Centrelink, is a Services Australia Master Program of the Australian government. So that's who Centrelink is. And the CEO is David Hazelhurst. So it sounds like a private company that is in partnership with the Australian government. Payment and service information for Medicare, Centrelink, and child support. So yeah. So it seems like it's a privatized data company that is in partnership with the government. That's what it seems like here. Let's have a look. Australian Government Services Australia, Centrelink, yeah. Again, I could be wrong, but it seems like a private services company that is in league with the government, in the same way we have like private companies here that work with the government. It seems like something like that, but Centrelink seem to form a very large part of what's going on here. I want to look more into Centrelink actually, because it's very important, because if they're named here, because if it has a CEO, I already know it's private owned. There's no way you're not going to have... Oh, hang on a minute. Centrelink is not a privately owned entity. Okay, shut my mouth. But a government agency under Services Australia that administers public welfare payments. While the agency is public, it uses private companies. There it is. That's why it has a CEO. While the agency is public, it uses private companies for specific functions, such as operating call centers and delivering employment services. Yeah, just like what we have in the UK, basically. Seems very similar to that, but Centrelink are named quite heavily in this document. I'm only on page 1, by the way. I'm only on page 1, and we already have gang stalking and money laundering and trafficking connected to major organizations within Australia. I haven't even started yet. This is just page 1, mind you. Page 1. Okay. Let's move on to page 2. Government figures and police figures involved in organized targeted crime of an individual 27 years, 1993 to 2021. Source of commencement targeting 1989. Victim is 16 years of age. They are from Kadina, South Australia. Okay, so we've got some names here. Rowan Ramsey, MP, Federal Government, Kadina, Port Pirie, Whyalla, suspected commencement of targeting, involved in organized crime. Source, Kadina. Victim, 16 years of age. Police, sexual targeting. First event recorded, Wallaroo, South Australia. Targeted victim, 15 years of age. Unusual disturbances in the privacy of own home, place of residence, parents' home. Unusual disturbance in privacy of own home, Port Pirie. 2013-2017, government illegal technology, radio frequency technology. This was the same radio frequency technology that I talked about with regards to, I think it was a targeted individual video that I named this on. I'm going to have to look at that video again. But this is connected to the other files that I've been reading from here. Referred to Solinnov report. Software development, government and military sophisticated radio frequency technology. So Solinnov is an important name as well. Let's look into that. Solinnov. Solinnov, Australia. Okay. I want to see what Solinnov I'm looking at because there's several here. Referred to Solinnov report, software development, government and military sophisticated radio frequency technology. I've got Solinnov Pty Ltd. It's a wholly Australian-owned small to medium enterprise that provides customized solutions in high-performance embedded signal processing. Sounds about right. And they also work with defense systems. Solinnov Pty Ltd. Is a wholly Australian-owned small to medium enterprise that provides customized solutions and high-perform embedded signal processing systems. Established in 2010, we design algorithms to understand and manipulate the radio... Hold up! Solinnov Pty Ltd. Established in 2010, we design algorithms to understand and manipulate the radio frequency spectrum and implement these algorithms in software-defined radios. The same radio frequencies that were talked about in that report to the New York official. Same type of shit. Now, it's just a connection. We don't know for sure. All I'm reading is a report right now. But it's companies like that that work with the manipulation of radio frequencies that can do a hell of a lot more than just sexually abusing a target. They can literally create illnesses in the body with these frequencies. The capabilities of these technologies, you wouldn't believe it. You literally wouldn't believe it. So we've got referred to Solinnov report, software development, government and military sophisticated radio frequency technology. Let's move on. Targeted victim, 22 years of age, 1993, residing in Willamorca, South Australia. First event of intellectual property theft connected to an American government source. So America, it comes back to America now. 1994 American Academy of Pediatrics, infant sleep positioner and sudden infant death syndrome, Australia. Prime Minister Paul Keating from the Labour Party. Okay. 2015, 2016, Kadena, seeking lawyer representation, David Prendergast from Prendergast Lawyers. Kadena, South Australia, Ruby, name contained on USB flash drive. No last name connected to this name only. Sexual advances by the lawyer towards the targeted victim. Involved in organized crime 2015. Targeted victims, family, pet dog, Ruby, says in quotation marks. Okay, so this is where it gets quite disturbing. Reported to RSPCA. Suspected rape of an animal by a human. Genital mutilation. Extreme hip pain on movement. Informed by Port Pirie veterinarians Maxine, cause hip displacement as a result of human rape. Threats made by sexual targeting perpetrator Zach, American Police Administration. Fucking hell. Okay. I will come to your home. Like, I've seen this before, but it just doesn't get any less disturbing. I will come to your home and rape you, your children, and your dog and take you all out in the backyard and shoot you. Family pet Ruby was raped, genital mutilation, and hip displacement. 2014 to 2015, Paul Gardner, sexual targeting, informed by Paul Gardner, government officials holding sex parties. Fuck. (2014 to 2015), Paul Gardner, sexual targeting, informed by Paul Gardner, government officials holding sex parties in Napaby, South Australia, with children. Napaby is located just outside of the region of Port Pirie, South Australia. Rowan Ramsey, MP, involvement in organised crime, targeting of individuals, rape of family, pets, animals, paedophilia, sex parties with children in Napaby, entrapment of the targeted individual in 2016 prior to detainment, refused to assist victim when reporting illegal activity and seeking assistance. How did they get all this information? Whoever is reporting this, like, how did they get all this? Where did all this even come? Bob and Hazel Hawke, Prime Minister of Australia, 1993 Labour. Lynn Arnold, Premier of South Australia, 1992 to 1993 Labour. 1993, first recorded event of intellectual property theft, Willimulka, South Australia, connected to an American government source. Infant sleep positioner, development of government department, sudden infant death syndrome, involvement infant sleep positions, involved in organized crime, government targeting of an individual, intellectual property theft. John Howard, Prime Minister of Australia, 2007, Liberal, 2006 to 2009, medical business plan, resulted in intellectual property theft. Premier Mike Ram, South Australia government, involved in organised crime, government targeting of an individual, intellectual property theft, sexual targeting, money laundering through utilities. 2007, commencement of sexual targeting of targeted victim. Sean Steele, motorcycle gang connected to Peter Bannister, Paul Gardner, Michael Featherstone-Hoff, and Officer Scott Richard Bowman, Queensland, Port Pirie, Crystal Brook, Adelaide. 2007, commencement of sexual targeting of targeted victim. Sean Steele, motorcycle gang member connected to Peter Bannister. All right, so we can just like shorten that to 2007, commencement of sexual targeting of targeted victim by Sean Steele. We know who Sean Steele is. He is connected to, he's a gang member, motorcycle gang member. So we can go ahead and dispense with that. We're going to move on to the gardeners now. Paul, Gail, and Roger. Queensland real estate, sexual targeting, 2014 to 2015. Paul Gardner informed me that his father was involved in prostitution with the government and named the government figure involved as Howard. John Howard, Liberal Prime Minister of Australia, involved in organised crime of prostitution of Australian people. Paul Gardner in 2015, threats of prostitution against the targeted victim and her children, stated the government has got you pegged for prostitution and I make the most money from your sons. Holy fucking shit, bro. I need a minute. I really need a minute. Sexual targeting of the targeted victim commenced 2007. Sean Steele, motorcycle gang member, known criminal figures of organised crime. Premier of South Australia, Mike Rann, involvement in intellectual property theft of 2006-2009 medical business plan GP Plus healthcare centres launched by the Premier of South Australia and Minister of Health, the Honourable John Hill, Labour connected as a government initiative, involved in organised crime, government targeting of an individual for 27 years. Paul Keating, Prime Minister of Australia, Labour, 1994. Like, there's a lot of this is basically repeating the same thing as what's been spoken about before. So what I'm thinking is that these are multiple files of these reports. There are multiple files of these reports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to Johnny Weston, because like we already covered Ruby. Ruby, by the way, the poor dog was put down because she was in too much pain from being raped. And allegedly there were children being prostituted, which really, for me, it seems to come back to the Ashley Madison network back in New York. But let's continue. So we've got 2016, sexual targeting Johnny Weston, Adelaide, South Australia. Johnny Weston's father is a pastor, religion. Johnny Weston is connected to rebels, motorcycle gang members. Okay, so now connections are being made here. 2020, Royal Commissioner, Commonwealth, released a priest back into society following allegations of paedophilia during a court hearing that Tony Abbott attended as his advocate. Tony Abbott stated that he had a personal relation with this particular priest who had been alleged was involved in paedophilia. Johnny Weston involved in sexual targeting of the targeted victim in 2016, and father is connected to religion, priest as a pastor of a church. Paul Keating's involvement in paedophilia ratchets involving religion connected to Tony Abbott, Prime Minister of Australia, 2013, Liberal, Royal Commissioner, connected to the Commonwealth released accused priest involved in paedophilia back into society. Commonwealth connected to, hold up. Commonwealth connected to Prince Andrew, involvement in Epstein grooming of victims for sex, sexual targeting, human trafficking through the Commonwealth, paedophilia within the government. So this is where we got a connection to royalty here. This is where we come back to Prince Andrew and Epstein, and that's probably why either Epstein or somebody close to Epstein had these files on them, because Epstein's name was mentioned and Prince Andrew was mentioned. So there's a connection, a potential connection to royalty, to Prince Andrew and to Jeffrey Epstein via Johnny Weston, who is connected to the rebels, motorcycle gangs, gang in Australia, and his dad, who's a pastor, right? So this is where we get into the meat of it now. Johnny Weston, involvement in rebels motorcycle gangs connected to religion. Paedophilia, government and the Commonwealth, involvement in human trafficking, prostitution, human trafficking of children for paedophilia, American VIPs and VIPs. So there's a connection to America here. And cartels, drug trafficking and sexual targeting of Australian people, organised crime. And now we've got some redactions here. Again, I haven't even read, like, I'm on the fourth page. I'm on the fourth fucking page. You can only imagine the type of fuckery that is in this file right now. My God, man. Paul Gardner, 2014 to 2015, sexual targeting connected to government source Uncle Michael Featherstonehoff, Port Pirie. Connected to motorcycle gang members Peter Bannister, half-brother connected to Red Devils and Hells Angels motorcycle gangs. Connected to South Australia Police Services, Officer Scott Richard Bowman, Crystal Brook. Connected to Queensland and South Australia real estate. Informed by Paul Gardner, code name Uncle. Missing child. This is where we get into alleged child trafficking now. Missing child, infant, India Rose, reported to AFP Melbourne in 2016. Informed to police by infant's father as being a missing child, India Rose, suspected missing child in the possession of Paul Gardner, an ex-partner, previous residential location Queensland and Port Germain, relocated with children Rio and India Rose to New Zealand. Ex-partner of Paul Gardner claiming to be children's mother named Tony, residing in New Zealand in 2015, travelled with the two children aged 4 and an infant to Queensland multiple times with Paul Gardner from New Zealand. Informed by Paul Gardner that the 4-year-old boy Rio had been raped by Tony's stepfather, the children's step-grandfather at age 4 in 2015. Informed by Zach, American Police Administration during sexual targeting in 2015, that he was traveling to Queensland during the same period Tony was traveling to Queensland with the two children, Rio and India Rose. Paul Gardner informed me that on this occasion, India Rose, that he suspected the infant had been sexually molested. Okay, I need a minute. Paul Gardner informed me that on this occasion, India Rose, that he suspected the infant had been sexually molested as there was blood in her nappy and her genitals had been tampered with. It says tapered with, but I think they mean tampered with. Appeared to be opened, mutilated. Paul Gardner involved in child abduction, child prostitution, and human trafficking of children for the government, organised crime, paedophilia. Paul Keating, government officials in Napabi religion, Commonwealth, royalty, connected to motorcycle gangs. So there's a connection to royalty here. Need a minute. I'm still on page 4. This is a 236 page document. I am on page 4. Julia Gillard, Prime Minister of Australia, 2010. Labour, Kevin Rudd, Labour, connected Jav Weatherill, Premier of South Australia, 2011. 2010 to 2012, redacted, medical professionals communication tool and patient referral system resulting in intellectual property theft. South Australia Health, South Australia Government and Countries South Australia won a South Australia Innovation Award. Involved in organised crime, intellectual property theft, money laundering through utilities, sexual targeting, a form of grooming the victim for prostitution, government prostitution and university student prostitution, government targeting of an individual for 27 years. 2010 to 2011, second event of sexual targeting, David Johnson, grooming the victim for government prostitution. This is important. This is important. And I want you to pay attention to this. 2010 to 2011, second event of sexual targeting, David Johnson, grooming the victim for government prostitution through emotional destruction. This is what they do to all targeted individuals. When we are having our, like our skin burned and our teeth like loosened and our teeth tortured and, our body, the molecular structure of our bodies altered, it is to create hopelessness so that we don't defend ourselves and we don't have pride enough in ourselves to fight back. We don't have pride. We don't have physical strength. We don't have any self-preservation skills. So that is what is meant by creating hopelessness. It worked on me it worked on me for 30 years. I'm 40 now. It worked on me for 30 years, creating hopelessness so that there's no strength to fight back, so that you can continue to be victimized by narcissist and psychopath and sociopath after another without fighting back. That is what is created within targeted individuals, right? Hopelessness, so that the TIs don't help themselves. And unattractiveness is so that nobody else helps the targeted individual. Do you remember when I said to you that there are people who are making excuses for their bullshit by saying God sends the wrong messengers? Well, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about rendering a targeted individual unattractive, not even just through physical mutilation, but also through scattering a person's nervous system so much that they become unlikable even without doing anything unlikable. So the hopelessness is so that the gang stalking victims don't help themselves. And the unattractiveness is so that nobody else feels compelled to help the target. Do you understand? It's a combination of not feeling like the target is a threat, but not wanting to help the target either. That is the perfect storm to create this fuckery of targeting. And I've seen it with my own eyes. There were two couples, and I call them couples very loosely. There were two men who had the nerve to fucking gloat in front of me about having, some poor women under control. These women looked like they'd been drugged up. Like there were two couples in succession on one train ride from London back to Brighton, in my face, bragging about how they got these poor girls under the thumb with whatever it is that they're doing to them. And all I could do was sit there and look at what's going on. Bystander effect. All I could do was sit there and look. Because what the fuck am I going to do as a targeted individual to help them? No one else is going to help me help them. I'm a TI. Nobody else is going to help me help them. If I try to help somebody, no one's going to help me help the other person. No one's going to try to help the person I want to help until way after the fact. So even if I wanted to help someone, what good would it really do from the position that I'm in? specifically because of the bystander effect and because of gang stalking. So hopelessness and unattractiveness of vulnerable victim, that's the perfect storm that these people in gang stalking look for. 2010 to 2011, second event of sexual targeting, David Johnson. Grooming the victim for government prostitution, state prostitution, not underground, government, through emotional destruction. Emotional destruction when it comes to being a targeted individual is the point. Let's move on. 2018 to 2019. Vincent Bulone, I think it's Bulone or Bulone. Director of Research, Adelaide University, Professor, KTH University in Sweden. 2018 to 2019. Sexual targeting. Book developments in progress resulting in blocked marketing on social media sites in 2020 to 2021, following ceased relationship in 2019. Grooming of the victim for government prostitution, emotional destruction, and second attempt of murder to attempt as suicide, encouraged by Vincent Bulone to get into the care of a psychologist and denied womanizing behavior and started to say thank you following sexual interaction. Visa application for permanent residency and $12 million government grant, Lord have mercy, granted in 2019. Fucking hell, that's a lot of money. Even now, that's a lot of money. $12 million. $12 million. Fucking hell, mate. Julia Gillard is mentioned again. Julia Gillard. Obtained position in an Adelaide University connected to Vincent Bulone, and in the same year his visa and grant was approved and granted. Julia Gillard involvement in intellectual property theft in 2010 to 2012 and sexual targeting of the targeted victim. Vincent Bulone connected to David Bradley, Tasmania, who is connected to the media industry and the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, Adelaide. David Bradley's brother is a member. Government and university employees connected to organized crime and involved motorcycle gangs. Vincent Bulone involved in organized crime, prostitution of university students. Jesus fucking Christ. Adelaide University and KTH Sweden University, professor of female students as a majority, money laundering, government targeting, paedophilia, human trafficking with motorcycle gang member Peter Bannister, Red Devils and Hells Angels, informed by Peter Bannister that he went to Tasmania to visit friends, free accommodation. David Bradley, brother Hells Angels, invited to Tasmania in 2019 with Vincent Bulone by David Bradley. Did not travel to Tasmania. David Bradley meeting in person, 2019. I'm on page 5 now. Informed me of the contents of my unpublished manuscript. So this is a person who's making the report. Of my unpublished manuscript in editing development with a publishing house, London, without informing him of the contents of or storyline of the book in development, and had the knowledge of the book contained references to motorcycle gangs. Vincent Bulone had no knowledge of the contents of the book, have not read the book or been informed by the targeted victim sexual targeting. Knowledge of the book development remained, Knowledge of the book development remained the confidentiality between author, targeted victim, and publishing house, London. Author under contract in 2018. Government organized crime connected to organized crime figures, known figures, motorcycle gangs. So I'm on page 5 now. Hacking of targeted victims' computer systems in 2009 to 2021. Previous computer system and newly purchased computer system used to transfer completed manuscript of book development to publishing house, Austin Macaulay Publishers, London. So there's a connection to the UK now. Through email systems. Suspected intellectual property theft. Hold up. Suspected intellectual property theft of completed manuscript under contract by organized targeted crime to be sold on black market dark website for profit. Blocked marketing of published book to social media websites, result of intellectual property theft. Book development commenced 2013. Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott, involved with paedophilia in religion. Priest involved in allegations of paedophilia connected to motorcycle gang member Johnny Weston. So Johnny Weston is a key name here. And all the things that I'm talking about with the blocking of intellectual property, targeted individuals have experienced that. Ciara Tavares Reyes, who wrote a book, has experienced that. Pauline Chung, who has written a cookbook that I have here, has also experienced this. So both of these TIs, I'd be willing to bet, I don't know for sure, but I'd be willing to bet, have experienced intellectual property theft on this level. I know I've experienced it, but I've experienced it on a lesser level because like all my content is online, right? It's online. I haven't written any books. I haven't written nothing like that. It's just online stuff. But a lot of targeted individuals also go through intellectual property theft. When you are imitated, it's not just a psyop. It's not just a psyop. It's also a way to steal your intellectual property. It's not just destiny swapping. It's not just destiny swapping. It's not just any of that. It's also intellectual property theft. Be aware. Okay. Now, Jeff Brock. Hold on. I'm only on page 5, by the way. I'm only on page 5. You see how dense this file is with information? I'm on page 5. And we all already have fucking connection to royalty here. UK royalty and Jeffrey Epstein. We've already got connections to pedophilia and fucking trafficking rings. We are on page 5 of a 236 page document. Jeff Brock, Independent, 2009. Medical business plan, applied funding denied. Rob Keren, Liberal, 2008. Medical business plan, intellectual property theft, involvement and knowledge. Nick Xenophon, connected to Rex Patrick. Received no reply, no response. Rex Patrick, federal government. Denied assistance and meeting. Involved in organized crime, government targeting of an individual, intellectual property theft, sexual targeting. Here we go again. Here the fuck we go. Pedophilia of government officials involved in sex parties with children. Napa BSA. So these people were among the guests there. Money laundering and entrapment of the targeted victim in the targeting by denying an investigation, reporting to federal law, assistance to the victim and documentation of verification of business plan, government funding application. Jeff Brock in 2009, continued multiple intellectual property theft, involvement in Port Pirie police targeting, resulting in illegal detainment of targeted victim. Victims' awareness of targeted illegal activity, reporting and seeking assistance. I feel like the reason why some of these people are mentioned, they're repeated, is because they've committed separate acts at separate times. Again, I'm going to link the whole file so you can look at it for yourselves. Because at first I thought it was like unnecessary repetition, but absolutely nothing about this file is unnecessary. Nothing about this file is unnecessary. Okay. Pauline Hanson, Senator for Queensland, reporting in 2019 to 2021, denied assistance. So some of these people were reporting the crimes, I think. Or at least Pauline Hanson Reporting in 2019. Pauline Hanson, Senator for Queensland, reporting in 2019 to 2021, denied assistance. Okay. What was she denied assistance for? Was she reporting the crimes? Queensland's involvement in organised crime. Organised targeted crime of an individual for 27 years. Informed victim following reporting Queensland involvement in targeted organised crime. Paul Gardner, Queensland. Gail Gardner, née Featherstonehoff, Queensland. Roger Gardner, Queensland. Sean Steele, Queensland, involving sexual targeting, police targeting, fraudulent activity, Townsville, CC parking fines, Queensland. Origin electric bill barcode scanned as a result of fraudulent activity. Police sources money laundering through utility accounts in 2016. Denied investigation and Queensland government assistance, stating it was a matter for South Australian government senators. So it sounds like Pauline Hanson requested assistance, requested a government organization, requested an investigation into this, and she was denied. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Pauline Hanson wanted this shit investigated and she was denied. I could be wrong. I could be reading this wrong because of the targeting. The targeting has affected my brain. I haven't slept very well. So I could be wrong. But it seems like Pauline Hanson was trying to report it and she was shut down. Queensland involvement in identity theft report. Officer Leong, Telco. Pauline Hanson involved in organised crime. Oh, okay, so no, she wasn't reporting anything. She was involved, okay. Government targeting of an individual, 27 years, money laundering, prostitution, human trafficking of children. Fuck, it just doesn't stop. These fucking people, it doesn't stop. I'm on page 6, by the way. Misuse of tax file numbers, created illegal bank accounts, drug trafficking, entrapment of the targeted victim in the targeting by denying an investigation and assistance. So, okay, so Pauline Hanson, the Senator for Queensland, allegedly denied investigation. So she wasn't denied the investigation. She denied investigation. She fucking blocked it. Allegedly. Fuck. It just never stops with these people. These people are relentless. This shit is crazy. I'm on page 6. I am on page 6. No, I was on page 5. Reading about another sack of garbage. Like now I'm on page 6. Tony Abbott, Prime Minister of Australia, Liberal, 2013, contesting intellectual property, medical business plan, MSIC communication tool. Malcolm Turnbull, Prime Minister of Australia, Liberal, 2015, reporting illegal targeted activity. Stephen Marshall, Premier of South Australia, conspiring. Vicky Chapman, Attorney General of South Australia, conspiring. Premeditated. I don't know why I'm surprised by any of this, because this happens to targeted individuals all the time, but seeing it in like black, red and blue is like a whole different thing, right? Stephen Marshall, Premier of South Australia, conspiring. Vicky Chapman, Attorney General of South Australia, conspiring. Listen to this. Premeditated murder to appear as suicide of the targeted victim. Victims Awareness Contesting Intellectual Property Theft 2013, reporting illegal targeted activity 2015 to 2017. Centrelink involvement in money laundering connected to telco robo-debts, victims contesting Gordon Law Legal Law Firm, 2020 to 2021. Robo-debts resulting in suicide of targeted victims. Involved in organized crime, specific government targeting of an individual 27 years, money laundering, identity theft, telco, sexual targeting, government prostitution, police targeting, multiple intellectual property theft, illegal detainment of the targeted victim, premeditated murder to appear as suicide of the targeted victim, awareness, conspiring. This is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, let's see how much information there is. There's a lot of information here. The person making this report was extremely thorough. Highly, highly thorough. I'm going to read up to, I feel like I'm going to read up to page 11. And then I'm going to end it there because this is very, very detailed. Extremely detailed. Right? And the reason I'm reading it, and I know a lot of people are thinking, no, it's got nothing to do with Australia. Okay. Word of advice, don't be fucking lazy about this shit. Don't be fucking lazy about this shit because every single piece of information in this, what I'm reading right now, every single piece of information in here is important. Don't be fucking lazy. Don't be fucking lazy. Like, don't take for granted that these details are not important. Every single detail here, important. I'm on page 6. Money laundering through government departments, 2013 to 2016. Organized targeted crime, organized crime. Housing, South Australia. Created fraudulent debt with real estate agents. Another thing that happens in among targeted individuals. 2 targeted individuals. I keep saying this. Every detail is important. Commonwealth Bank. Created fraudulent credit card debts 2008. Lawyer involved. Depleting funds of house sale. Funding of medical business plan. Okay, so they made sure that the targeted individual who was making this report was being financially abused as well. Commonwealth Bank. Net banking services. Fraudulent and malicious activity. Closed for security reasons. Publishing contract. Electronic transfer payments. Jacqueline T. Not Jacqueline Pearce. So Jacqueline Pearce is the one making this report. Jacqueline Pearce is connected with both Australia and the US, and because of Prince Andrew, the UK as well. So this is Jacqueline Pearce's report. Commonwealth Bank, net banking services, fraudulent and malicious activity. Closed for security reasons, publishing contract, electronic transfer payments. Jacqueline T, not Jacqueline Pearce, as usual, since 2018, electronic payment transfers. Australian Tax Office is mentioned 3 times. Fraudulent debts in 2012, altered BAS statements. Denied rebates, 2020, altered BAS statements. Missing funds during electronic transfer of superannuation claim. Released funds. Taxed 37%, not 22%, not recorded on superannuation release. Funds history reported as 37% taxed. Report states 22% taxed. So falsifying tax records. Okay, falsifying tax records. Child Support Department, 2007 to 2016, missing funds. Centrelink, 2010, 2016, missing funds. NAB, not recording payments of paying fraudulent created AGL account to probe debt collectors, resulting in bad credit rating history of the targeted victim. So that's something else that's being done to targets, right? Financial abuse through fraudulently creating bad credit and debts. ANZ, Australia and New Zealand, double dipping by local businesses of Port Pirie on card swiped purchases. Illegal access to bank account to withdraw funds without bank account details or targeted victims' authority. Australian Credit Union, 2013 to 2016, missing business funds, not recording deposits. Charged fees for electronic payment declines or missing funds. Home Start Finance, mortgage 2007 to 2008, excessive rise in interest rates and payments, increasing the mortgage payout figure of house sale. Reducing depleting business funding of medical business plan. AGL, electricity supply 2007 to 2012. Excessive rise in utility accounts. 2012 to 2014. Supply charges to an address targeted victim who was not registered with the company. AGL. Targeted victim was a registered company of origin. Meadow Consent Port Pirie. Fraudulent debt forwarded to debt collector Jeffrey Meddleston. Probe debt collections resulting in bad credit rating of the victim and denied business credit. Telstra 2010 to 2016. Excessive rise in billing. Fraudulent and malicious activity. Blocked contact as a result of remote access to servers by government and police sources, creating isolation of the victim. Yeah. Illegal access to bank account, withdrawing funds 2014, without authority to access to targeted victims' banking details. South Australia Water, continual charges depleting house sale funds, 2008 in trust account. Excessive rise in water billing, 2012 to 2016, real estate development. This is something that I can relate to because, again, every single time I was out, staying in London, suddenly my electricity bill went sky fucking high when I wasn't in the building. Meaning my bills will run up deliberately. This is something that happens to TIs. Wesley United Care, low income support creating fraudulent debts. So Jacqueline Pearce was financially abused. I don't know if Jacqueline Pearce is alive now. I hope she is. But this is Jacqueline Pearce's very thorough and very extensive report. I did say that I was going to read up until page 11, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break right here. I'm going to take a break. What page did I just read? I read number 6. So I'm going to take I'm going to take a break at number 6. And then when I come back for part 2, I'm going to come back tomorrow, either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm going to come back to page 7 and I'm going to read through to 11 because that is a very, very important part of this report that Jacqueline Pearce has filed. Okay. So, yeah. I'm going to talk to you all later. I need a minute to kind of process everything that I've heard here. This is a lot. This is a lot. Jacqueline Pearce, you're a fucking G, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Jacqueline Pearce is a fucking G, but this is a lot, man. What I want to know is how she found all this out. Like, how the fuck does she even know all this? On top of everything that was being done to her, how does she know? Anyway, I need to go. I need to take a break. I'll come back either tomorrow or Saturday. This is some gnarly shit. This is crazy. We'll talk soon. Marsha the Great out. Bye-bye.